Welcome to A Shot of Joe, the place where you come to get enlightened and get empowered. Please subscribe to my channel. You can click below or go to ashotofjoe.com. You can see all the new videos. I put new videos up every week to help everybody move to a higher level of energy. And we're going through, of course, a lot of changes right now. But one of the things that I think is going to be interesting as we continue to move forward is how we see the world and how we move away from certain belief systems. And one of the things that really I think has created a lot of issues for people is we have praised what are called false idols for a long period of time. And we go back, when we look at this, we go all the way back, of course, when we first heard those terminologies was going back, of course, to the days of Moses. And if you remember the story of Moses, he goes up to the mountain for 40 days and he goes and gets the Ten Commandments. There's actually many more commandments, but the Ten Commandments are the ones that we basically think about. And he comes down from the mountain after this 40 days, and we're there with God, and he comes down with the two tablets, and he sees all the people, and what they're doing is they're praising the golden calf. They've actually made a calf and made it out of gold, and all the people are partying and dancing around, and they're praising the golden calf as they waited for Moses to come down. And of course, he gets all upset and he breaks the tablets, and he's furious that the people have basically lost their faith and are now praising a golden calf, in effect, praising this thing instead of praising God, which is what he wanted them to be doing. That's what the only entity that they're supposed to be praising. So when we look at this now, of course, that's over 1,000 years ago. But when we look at this now in today's times, how has that changed? Because the commandment, and I'll paraphrase because there are different interpretations based on who interpreted the tablets and so forth. But basically, it is you will put no false gods before me. You will put no false gods ahead of me. So that's really what it is about. Now, in those days, it was about God. It was about saying, okay, you will pray, you will only have faith in, you will only have this one God that you will believe in, and you will not believe in anything else. So now, when we fast forward, right, 1,200 years later, or whatever it is, we now have taken on different types of gods, which we have now praised and moved into a status above ourselves. So, for example, it could be athletes, it could be entertainers, it could be successful business people that we now look at, and basically these people have been put on a pedestal. And we look at these, and these people are being praised, in effect. Where you go to a concert and you see thousands and 20, 30, 40,000 people. And some people, again, go there and look at this person as if they are a god. And they're just a person, just like you and me. So at the end of the day, we are all the same. We are all one energy. Nobody is better than you. Nobody is worse than you. So the person who is, in our eyes, more successful or has a better life, or however you want to look at it, they're the same energy as you. And the person who is homeless, and the person who's having a very hard time, and the person who is struggling, they're no different than you. Just that you're in a different position. And you know what? What's funny about life and the way energy works is you're a click away from either one of those. You're a little bit away from being really down, and you're a little bit away from being really up. So the idea is when we praise false gods, what happens is, and in this case I'm talking about entertainers or athletes or money or whatever the case may be, what we're doing is we're getting into an egoic state. So now we're getting more ego driven instead of being faith based and looking at our life as far as how do I have a fulfilling life? If I'm only focusing on being famous, I meet people and they say, I want to be famous. And I had a guy I was working with and he said, I'm writing a book. And I said, that's great. I said, why are you writing that book? And he said, I'm writing it so it will be a New York Times bestseller. And I said to him, that's not the reason you should be writing a book. You should be writing a book because you want to share something with the world. If it becomes a New York Times bestseller, that's great. And there's nothing wrong with us admiring people. I admire authors. I admire other teachers. I admire musicians. I admire athletes. I admire people that they can do certain things and they have a certain skill. But I don't place them into a different category because they're just a person like me. So the idea is if I'm doing something, what I want to do is look at it and say, why am I doing that? Am I doing it for my ego? Am I doing it to advance my status? Am I doing it so people will look at me in a different way? Am I doing it so people will think differently of me? Or am I doing it because I feel like that's what I want to do from my soul. And that's the difference here. So when I see people who say, "Oh, I want to be a YouTube influencer, and I want to do this, and I want, I want to do this so people listen to, all egoic stuff," I know that that is not going to be fulfilling. So the idea behind it is to say to yourself, whatever you're doing, take your ego out of it and focus on doing something for the greater good and doing something that makes you feel good, something that speaks to your soul, something that you know is something you want to be doing to help the world, because that's why we're here. We're here to serve, we're here to share, we're here to prosper. There's nothing wrong with you doing something and being successful and making a lot of money. There's nothing wrong with that. The idea is what's behind it, and are you doing it because you want to be a false idol, or are you doing it from your soul? So ask yourself that question, and that will help you stay in alignment and in flow, because in the new energy we're moving into, the false idols will no longer have power. We're moving to a power shift. It's going to be a very different world, and you're going to see things in a very different way. And the people you might have looked at before in high esteem, you may be very surprised at where you see them as you move forward. But basically, most importantly for us, stay in alignment with your soul, do things that feel good for you, and watch how great things will go, and you'll get into a nice flow, and it'll just take you where you need to be. May you be blessed. I'll see you soon.